All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're a few minutes late, but we are still live. And I guess that's how you know we're live, because we are a few minutes late, but that's all right. We were discussing off air exactly who we're going to put in this 12-team playoff and how difficult this decision is. We didn't give it away to each other, but I can't wait to end the show with it today. We are going to tell you at the end of today's show. This is our college football special, coaches and college football playoff teams. We're going to pick the 12 teams that we would put in as of today before the championship team games go off this weekend. So without further ado, let's give us a little bit of music and let's get this thing going. All right. Whew. We have got so much stuff we got to do. This is, this is a great time of year. I love college football, and I know Cheese does too. We're going to look at the number of schools that are going to have new coaches next season, which reminds me, I got to pull that up on my phone while I'm doing this. We're going to look at the last we're going to look at our last college special for a few moments. We're going to concentrate on SEC coaches. Then we're going to look at a few sponsors there in between, do some questions on those coaches. The college football calendar, we agree it needs to be changed, but how are we going to do it? Then we're going to focus on Lane Kiffin for a moment. Well, it'll probably be more than a moment, but we'll focus on Lane Kiffin for part of this thing. I'm not even looking at him and I can hear him laughing. And then we're going to do our lights out list, of course. And we got a couple of preview things and things to announce along the way. So we'll get to all of that, ladies and gentlemen, as we're doing this college football special. All right, so I am kind of stalling for time for just a moment before I can hit the right buttons on this phone to get to everything I need to here. There's so much stuff going on right now. So many things that we're involved in and all of that good stuff. So I am just getting the list of the teams that are going to have new college football head coaches next year. I didn't think we had that much stuff on our timeline. Gee, many Christmas, guys. Go over to our timeline. You want to keep up on everything. Football, college football, some inspirational quotes that I threw out there, some NFL stuff that I threw out there. Man, there is all kinds of stuff right at the moment on our timeline. So just go over there, have a blast, see it, and go from there. All right. So I have the list in front of me now. Teams that will have new college football head coaches next season. And there's quite a few of them.
A lot.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I mean, this is just to prove, right, Cheese, that this college football season has just been absolutely crazy.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Yeah, I never thought we would have this many teams with this many new coaches next season, but let's give you a list. Virginia Tech, Penn State, Florida, Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, Arkansas, UCLA, Oklahoma State, Stanford, North Texas, Tulane, Memphis, South Florida, Coastal Carolina, Oregon State, UAB, Colorado State, UConn, California, Michigan State, and I'm pretty comfortable feeding you this bit of information and adding one more team to this list. BYU.
What do you know, Mike?
Cheese?
I have not heard. I've heard the bird is the word. I've heard that.
You've heard that bird is the word?
Yes.
Well, according to the sources that I was just sent over a tweet about 10 minutes before we went on to the air here while we were still talking. Penn State is going to hire the BYU coach to be their next coach.
So it's not going to be Sonny Dykes.
It is not. It is going to be the new BYU
Kalani, what's his last name?
I don't know. I was hoping you were going to pronounce it for me.
Kalani
Sitake. So it's Sitake. Sitake.
His real name is Kiliala Kalani.
Ooh.
But he goes by Kalani. Sataki, I guess. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
He's done a great job at BYU. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so that's what I heard just a few minutes before we came on the air, was that is what's going to happen. So I'm going to feel comfortable adding BYU as a breaking news story to those teams that will need a new coach next season. Uh-oh. See, now Cheese is getting all kinds of stuff. I can see him. He's on his phone now, too.
I'm getting texts like crazy now.
Oh, man. All right. So let's turn this music off in the background and let's get this going here a little bit further. So we've gone over all of those coaches that are going to need, or all those teams, pardon me, that are going to need new coaches. I also want to thank everybody out there. The last college special that we did has already, in little less than 3 days, done well over 300 views, actually in the last 48 hours, on all of our social media platforms. You can get us on X. You can get us on Facebook. You can get us on YouTube at All Gloves Off Sports Media. And we also have the audio-only platform, Spotify and Apple Podcast. Last night, I want to mention the Red Hot Reds podcast did really well, too. They're part of the All Gloves Off Sports Media, as is Cheese's channel, which we'll get to here in just a second. But the Red Hot Reds podcast last night did well. Over 100 views just between their YouTube and X, and that's done in less than 24 hours. So let's get to yours real quick, Cheese. You have a new podcast that's going to be out. I'm going to put it up on our Twitter at All Gloves Off SM as soon as we're done with this show. Tell us, just take a minute, tell us what the new podcast is about and where they can find it at, sir.
What new podcast?
Your new one.
My new one. I have a new podcast.
Didn't I see you put a new podcast up? I didn't post it up yet because I was doing a bunch of other stuff.
You mean a new video?
A new video. Okay, if that's what you want to call it. Come on now. You're a podcast machine. A new video, a new podcast, whatever you want to call it.
I started a new podcast. I did not know. I was like, wow, I did that without knowing. Yeah, I put out a new video today. It's about the Minnesota Vikings quarterback situation, why I think they should have kept Sam Darnold, why they needed some kind of bridge, and they needed to give JJ McCarthy a few years to, learn. And it's all about that. And you can find it on my channel at Football with Cheese. CHEEZ is how you spell cheese.
All right. Fantastic. I have to throw this out there real quick before we get into this. I don't like to do a whole lot of stuff, especially not personal stuff beforehand, but I've got to put this out there. Cheese knows I've been off work for about the last week or so. I have tomorrow off as well, so that I can prepare and get everything done for the podcast. We're really moving forward with everything that's going on with at All Gloves Off Sports Media. But I also have to give a special shout out to my wife. Yesterday, we have been married for 34 years. That woman deserves a medal.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't have to agree so much, Cheese. I mean... Oh, man. But for those of you who know me, for those of you who are with me and have been since the beginning, I certainly appreciate it. Yeah, I love that woman to death. And 34 years together with somebody is pretty rare these days. So I want to thank her, and I want to tell her that I love her before we get everything going here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. All right. So let's do some of this stuff here. We're going to get into SEC coaches. And we're going to do those specifically, all right? So, Auburn, Alex Golesh, right? That's how you say his last name?
Sure.
Well, he was at Tennessee, right? So he previously served as a head football coach at the University of South Florida. Prior to that role, he was the offensive coordinator and the tight ends coach at the University of Tennessee. He was actually born in Moscow, which I thought was interesting. He moved to the United States when he was 7. He grew up in Brooklyn and Dublin, New York. He was hired to be the running backs coach and the recruiting coordinator at Toledo in 2009 under Coach Beckman. He was later shifted to the tight ends coach. And then he followed Beckman to Illinois in 2012, working once again with the tight ends coaching, and he was also their recruiting coordinator. He was hired as a tight ends coach and recruiting coordinator then at Iowa State in 2016 under Matt Campbell, who he worked with at Toledo. In the season before, this is an interesting stat that I wanted to bring up. In the season before Golesh came there, Iowa State tight ends caught a combined 5 passes. And in 2019, after he took over, they caught 75 passes. So he was then hired as the offensive coordinator and tight ends coach at UCF. And then he went on to Tennessee, which I'm sure Cheese can tell us about a little bit, as the offensive coordinator and tight ends coach there. And then under his leadership, Tennessee improved their scoring offense by 101 spots, going from 108th in the country at 2010. And then in 2021 is when they jumped up those 101 spots. In 2022, he once again led the Volunteers to their best offensive score history, finishing as the top-ranked offense with 46.1 points per game. So he's an offensive guy. He was hired as UCF's 6th head coach, and then he went to the Bulls. He got them to a 7-6 record in the first season, 7-6 in the second, became the first coach in program history to secure bowl eligibility and 2 victories in those bowl games in his first 2 seasons. His third season was actually the breakout one for him because he went 9-3, their first 9-win campaign since 2017, and then their best overall mark in 8 years. The team ranked 3rd nationally in offense. So again, another team, but a really good offense, and 5th in scoring. And they returned to the top 25 in the AP poll for the first time in 7 years under his leadership. Whew, that was a lot of stuff. So Alex Golesh, you want to talk about him at all, Cheese?
Yeah, he came over. He was hired by Josh Heupel when he was at Central Florida, and brought him with him when he became the head coach of Tennessee. And there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's Josh Heupel's offense, but there's no doubt about it. The offense completely changed. They run that system. I like to run a lot of 4 wide receiver, 1 running back, run a play every 20 seconds type offense. It's really fun to watch. It's really hard to evaluate if you're a draft analyst, though, because no one in the NFL runs that offense whatsoever. But there's no doubt about it improved. It did help that they got Hendon Hooker, a transfer from Virginia Tech. They did not have a quarterback the year before. So it really helped that they finally got a quarterback that could actually play. But he did a tremendous job at Tennessee, and it's a really good get for Auburn. And Auburn needs a lot of help on offense.
They do. They do. So I think that is an interesting get for them. We'll talk about all of these coaches here in just a second as far as what it means as far as the college landscape and all of that kind of thing. First, before we do that, I want to say Battle Bites. Go to fuelyourbattle.com and use the code ALLGLOVESOFF10 for 10% off your orders. And they also give 10% of everything that they make right back to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. So that is a fantastic thing for them. And you can help out by going to All Gloves Off 10. Use that code. You go to fuelyourbattle.com and get yourself some good jerky. All right. So I'm going to throw all that back on there. Appreciate you guys hanging with us for just a moment. We're going to do a couple more of these coaches in the SEC. Arkansas's newest coach, Ryan Silverfield. He was actually the quarterback's coach at Jackson University. Then he went to UCF for a couple years. And believe it or not, he went to the football ranks and he joined the Minnesota Vikings staff. He was there for 6 years in various positions. He went to 1 year in Toledo. Then he went to Arizona State for about a half a year before he departed from them and went back to the NFL as the Detroit Lions offensive line coach. Then at the conclusion of 2015, he was hired by Memphis. Of course, Mike Norvell was there at that time, and he was hired as an assistant. He remained in that position for 2 years before being tapped as the offensive line coach and the running game coordinator in 2018, and was elevated to assistant head coach in 19, was named their interim coach when Norvell left to take the spot at Florida State. And now he is the newest coach in Arkansas. Anything you want to add to Ryan Silverfield, Cheese?
Well, Arkansas got a good first-hand look. They actually lost at Memphis this year. They're like, well, if we can't beat him, let's get that guy as a coach. Yeah, I didn't know too much about him, but he's done well last couple of years for Memphis. So, I get it. Arkansas is a tough job. So, it's tough to win in the SEC. So, it's not one of the stronger programs, but, we'll see what happens.
Okay. So, Florida has now hired as well, staking with the SEC, John Sumrall. He He played college football at the University of Kentucky as a linebacker, where he led the team as a junior in 2004. But prior to his senior season, he was diagnosed with a spinal condition that ended his career. So then he jumped into coaching. He started his coaching there at Kentucky while he was still with the team getting his degree. After a couple of years, he was hired by San Diego, and then he went as defensive coordinator at Tulane. Then he went to Troy as their assistant head coach and special teams coordinator. He was then named linebackers coach at Ole Miss. He returned back to Kentucky in 19 as the inside linebackers coach, was eventually promoted to the co-defensive coordinator there. And then he was hired as a 23rd coach of Troy in 2021. His first season there, they went 12-2. And in the second year, he went 11-2. So they're back-to-back. They went to the Sun Belt Conference Championship. And then on December 8th of 2023, he was hired as a 42nd coach at Tulane. In those 2 seasons with the Green Wave, he guided them to back-to-back American Conference Championship games appearances as well. And here's an interesting nugget that we may want to talk about for a moment. He will actually coach Tulane's postseason games for this season before moving on to his new position at Florida. That would be your cue, sir.
I didn't know you didn't ask me a question. I didn't know.
Yes, I didn't ask you a question, but I was done, sir. I apologize.
No, I'm not surprised that Florida went with a defensive coach. Their defense is really falling apart. Some games they got absolutely torched this year. You know, it's Florida. You should do better than this. You should be a good program. It's a good job to get, but it was a disaster this year. But you know what? I just thought of something. Well, I was not answering you. Well, I was just all that silence. If you have success in the American Conference, you're gone. Like North Texas coach went to Oklahoma State. Tulane coach goes to Florida. South Florida coach goes to we just had it. Where'd he go? Whatever. Memphis coach goes to Arkansas. South Florida coach, I totally lost it. But
that's all right. I can't help you there, buddy. I don't follow that conference real big. So
he went to Auburn. Yeah, Alex Golesh. Yeah, he went to Auburn. So like the 4 of the top coaches in the conference, if you win there, we're going to steal you. You're going to get a better job. So I think that's interesting. Teams are not going the coordinator route. They're going the head coaching route from maybe a non-power 4. I'm noticing, and that's who they're plucking. They're not going, a defense. They're not doing the Kirby Smart thing. He was Alabama's defensive coordinator. They're doing let's get a proven head coach from a smaller program.
That's an interesting concept, though. A proven head coach from a smaller program instead of some kind of coordinator or assistant from a proven program, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Kirby Smart, he was defensive coordinator at Alabama for many years, but he went to Georgia. He played at Georgia, so that made sense. That was a perfect fit, but I'm just surprised more teams don't go after coordinators. Like you said, Matt Patricia, we talked about.
Right.
Coordinators just do such a great job. Instead, they like to go for, prove yourself first. Take a head coaching job at a non-power 4 first. Prove yourself. Then we'll hire you. Like go from Tennessee's offensive coordinator to South Florida. Okay, prove you can win there. Then we'll hire you back in the SEC. So it's just interesting.
It is interesting. I didn't think about it until you brought it up just now. That's actually very interesting. What I want to say here real quick is that you can do the exact same thing that Ramen on Wheels did and comment with us. You can join our comment chat room live. Just simply talk about what we're talking about. And it's not like our normal Lights Out podcast on Tuesday nights where we talk about a plethora of different things. Today, we're going to concentrate on college football. So it shouldn't be too difficult for you guys to comment on what we're talking about, since that's all we're going to talk about today is college football. We appreciate that and thank Ramen on Wheels for being the first to comment on things for us. Ole Miss got Pete Golding, the current head football coach at the University of Mississippi. So he previously served as the defensive coordinator and the inside linebacker coach at Ole Miss from 2023 to 2025. He was also an assistant coach at the University of Alabama, University of Texas San Antonio, University of Southern Mississippi. He also did some things at Southeastern Louisiana University, Delta State University, and Tuscaloosa University, as well has the following with the University of Alabama under head coach Nick Saban. He was brought on December 15th, 2017 to serve as a defensive assistant for them. And then in 19, he was the co-defensive coordinator / inside linebackers coach for the Crimson Tide. He was then promoted to defensive coordinator in 19, but he struggled there in 19. So in 2020, he was part of the staff that got the Tide's national championship together. But then he really took a step back, as far as I'm concerned, in 2020 when he was arrested by Northport, Alabama police and charged with drinking under the influence. Anything you want to add about Pete before we move on to the questions about all of these guys overall, sir?
Yeah, I remember when he got that DUI. It's if you're a coach or a GM in the NFL or in college, as long as you apologize, you don't hurt anybody, you're fine. You can apologize, and then years later, it's fine. As long that's just the way it is. Just don't kill anyone. But here's the thing with him. Yeah, he was the defense coordinator of Alabama. When Nick Saban retired, he joined Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. They worked together at Alabama when Lane Kiffin was an assistant there. But he was actually named the permanent coach, and not just the interim. Did you see that? He was named the permanent.
No, you're catching me off guard here. I was pouring drink over here in the corner.
Sorry. No, but
no, you're good. You can't see me doing it. That's the whole reason I'm doing it over here in the corner.
Okay, I will talk a little more because I do want to say one thing about him. I think it's a mistake to name a permanent head coach. Just maybe he's an upcoming coach. He's 41 years old. He's done a great job. The defense this year is much improved. But to name a permanent head coach, I think the reason they did it is they want to try to keep as many assistant coaches and even more importantly, the players from transferring. So we're saying this is your permanent head coach. He might be well-liked in the locker room, but to not have a big search and try to find the best candidate, he could be, but I don't know. I think they're just so worried that Lane Kiffin's going to bring a bunch of transfers with him, and they wanted to name a permanent coach. And I don't know. It just feels like that's a pretty good job. They could have maybe done better.
Yeah, I agree with you. For a lot of what you just said, we're gonna cover that as we move forward. I got 4 questions about these SEC coaches as a whole, sir. Here's the first one: which coach will make the biggest difference in year 1 with their team?
Oh, Golish or whatever. How do you pronounce it? With Auburn, because Auburn's offense is bad. He's got a proven track record of great offenses, and his offense is very tough to scheme against in 1 week. At Ole Miss runs something similar. LSU's gonna run something similar next year. Tennessee, it's really tough to simulate that in practice. So right away, I think he'll have a huge impact on Auburn's offense.
All right. I want to tell everybody that we do have a brand new sponsor, one beyond Battle Bikes. We love them as well, but we've got a second one. We'll announce who that is on the show tomorrow night. So, Cheese, here's the second question for you. Which coach would you say has the most impressive resume?
Alex Golish as well. No doubt about it. He's worked a ton of different coaches, ton of programs in Big 10, Big 12, a lot of Midwest, a lot in the South. Like I said, he was, coordinator under Tennessee. So I guess they all really have good resumes, to be honest with you. But I'll go with Golish.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think he does have the most impressive resume. He was the biggest paragraph that I did when I was going through and looking at all this. I'll give you a little insight to it. Cheese off the air was like, you are not going to read all that stuff for each one of those coaches, are you? And I wanted to because I think we need to know, and I think the fan bases need to know what they're getting here. But I think, as you just said, Auburn got the best one as far as I'm concerned. So that leads me to my third question. Should any of these fan bases be disappointed by these hires?
I don't think so. I think it's cool that Ryan Silverfield has NFL experience too. Mm-hmm. I just Pete Golding. That's the only one I would be disappointed about. I know some fans are like, "Oh yeah, they like him," interim coach. Oh yeah, we got our coach right away. I would be concerned for the reasons I just stated, that they didn't go out and maybe they could have done better.
So I, like you, noticed that he wasn't the interim word was not used when they brought him in for the coaching position. And they did that really, really fast, by the way. So do you think that Golding will remain the coach at Ole Miss past this first year?
Yeah, I think he will. I think they'll give him a few years, but there better not be a huge drop off. If they go 7-5 the next 2 years, yeah, he'll be gone. Because Lane Kiffin did. Let's be honest, he did build it up. He did a really good job. Hey, they should hire Eli Manning. There you go. Okay, I'm kidding.
I couldn't believe some of the tweets and stuff that were out there. Oh, Eli's accepted. And I was like, he ain't giving up the Manning cast for that. I'm sure he gets paid really well to be beside his brother and just do slapstick stuff instead of having to actually coach a team. So unless he really wants to be competitive, I didn't see him doing that. So.
Zero coaching experience.
Right, with nothing. Just because he's a quarterback and his last name's Manning, everybody thinks he can be a great coach. I don't know, just it gets on my nerves sometimes. That's another reason why I wanted to put these resumes up there for everyone to see. All right, Cheese. We've talked about some of the coaches. We did the SEC very specifically. I want our fans to know here, Cheese and I are going to do a watch-along this coming Thursday night for Thursday Night Football, featuring a huge NFC matchup with possibly even bigger playoff implications as the 6-5 Dallas Cowboys go to Ford Field to play the 7-5 Detroit Lions. Dallas is currently second in the NFC East, while Detroit is third in the NFC North. So big game this coming Thursday. Big implications. We've invited a couple of guests to be along with us, and hopefully everyone that's here with us can not only join us, but, tell a couple of your friends and maybe have them join us as well. That's this coming Thursday.
So Dallas is 6-5-1, by the way. 6-5-1. They tied the Packers.
True. I did forget about the one. I apologize.
It sucked. Yeah.
So he's very upset with Michigan. We need to build this off season. You absolutely do need to build this off season.
We talked a lot about that on Saturday. If you didn't check that out, we did the instant reaction to Ohio State, Michigan, and we did talk a little about that. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, they do need to do that. And I was going to say the same thing, guys. We do have another college football special we did a couple days ago. Look that up on either our YouTube, which is at All Gloves Off Sports Media, or you can simply go to our X feed, and it is actually right now at the very top. It's pinned to the top of our X feed. This one will be pinned to the top of our X feed here shortly when we are finished with it today. But thank you.
Wow. Did you see?
Did you make your name any longer, sir?
Just on that topic, real quick. Right after we finished, I looked something up. Did you know how much money Bryce Underwood is making in his NIL deal?
No.
They paid him a ton. It's 4 years. I think it's 10 million up to 12.5 million.
Wow.
For a guy that just I know he's a true freshman. I'm not saying he could improve, but for someone that really couldn't go to football much this year, wow, that's a lot of money. That's the thing is when you pay these high school seniors this kind of money, you don't know. It doesn't matter if he's number one recruit in the country like he was. I believe he was, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. He was. He was one of the top ones anyway.
Yeah. You still do not know. It's like when you sign an international free agent in baseball. It could be the number one signing. It has all 5 tools. It could get to A ball and can't even hit. Can't hit a thing. Right. So you just don't know. So that's a lot of money for a guy that threw for 63 yards against Ohio State.
Yeah, I was going to say he didn't even throw for 100 yards against Ohio State. You had the exact number. Good job on you. 63.
You're welcome. So 8 completions.
8
completions. Yes.
Oh man, I think his uniform number was higher than that. Anyway, I don't want to act like too much of a homer. Right? I'm an Ohio State guy, so I don't want to get on here and scream about it too much. They won. That's all that matters to me. So we're going to look at the college football calendar here in just a second. We're going to look at the LSU, Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss debacle that was over the weekend. And then the last thing we're going to do on today's episode of our Lights Out Sports podcast, focusing on the college football coaches and the college football playoff participants, will be that list. We're going to do our Lights Out list. It's our version of the top 10, but today it's a special one because it's the top 12 participants right now as far as who we would put and in what order in the college football playoff. So let's talk about the college football calendar for a second, Cheese. I got some really good questions that I can't wait to get your answer on when we go through some of this stuff here, and then especially with the Lane Kiffin things we'll get to in just a moment. But first, should college football adopt a model where teams can't hire new coaches until after the college football playoff is completed?
No, absolutely not. Because it would give the teams that didn't change coaches a huge advantage in recruiting. You can't say, okay, you have to wait till late January, mid-January to get your head coach in place. You lose all that recruiting time. So, but no, you can't do that. You have to let a program get a head coach when they want. If they fire a coach at the end of the year, they can hire right away. If they hire a coach after week 3, or the Virginia Tech, they got to jump on it. They hired Franklin early. You can't tell a team you can't have a head coach in place. I know it sucks, but you can't. What do you think?
Okay. So it's no.
No.
I'm not sure if I agree. I mean, as much as it's not fair to other teams, it's really not fair to some of these. I mean, what's going on with Lane Kiffin right now? What's going on with BYU right now? As we just put it out there for those of you who have just joined us recently, it looks like the BYU head coach is going to go to Penn State. I mean, how is that fair to those other programs? How is that fair to BYU and to Tulane and to some of these other conferences that are still going to get to go to some bowl games, but yet now all of a sudden they're hired by a bigger team, and that bigger team expects them to come aboard and come with us and start recruiting and doing all these other things?
It's the way it's always been. It's always
Just
been
because
that way.
it's the way it's always been doesn't mean it's right.
Well, life isn't fair. There's, to me, I don't see a system. I don't see a way you could just change it. You can't tell, okay, you lost your coach. You have to wait 2 months, 6 weeks, 2 months before you can start recruiting, get a new head coach in place. Meanwhile, that coach has no chance to keep the recruits that you've already had. You have a lot of decommitments, and your competitor is out there recruiting like crazy, probably stealing your recruits. You can't do that. You have to be able to have a head coach in place whenever you want. Yeah, it hurts those programs, but you can't do that.
All right. So what if you would say you can't talk to head coaches from programs until either their bowl game is complete or their season's over?
So the NFL has a somewhat kind of rule on that. You can't hire. They've changed it a little, but even there's some things where you can't talk to a coordinator, because they're trying to prepare for the playoffs. But I don't like that either, because if you make the playoff and you really want to take another job, well, you're not going to be considered. Like, you have no opportunity to get a better job. Like, say your goal is you're coaching, North Texas or Tulane, and your goal is to get an SEC job or get a Big Ten job or whatever. Right. And you make the playoff, then you lose out on that job, your dream job. You can't tell them they can't talk to them. I know it sucks. I understand why you're asking these questions, but I don't want to tell you, okay, you can't talk. And then what if you keep winning? What if you keep winning, and then you still don't have an opportunity? So I know that this year has been crazy because there's so many coaches that are either in the playoff or might be in the playoff that, have left their programs. But I don't like more regulations.
But you're saying it's not fair. But if we wait until everything's done, that's the only way it's ever going to be fair. We wait until everything is complete, and then everybody's on an even playing field, and then you start hiring people.
Well, if a team just misses the playoff, another team just makes it, then the coach that just misses has a better opportunity to get a better job, and the one who makes it, because it's at least 3 weeks, right? From the season ends to the game. So that's all 3 whole weeks you lose in recruiting. So you're not going to hire them. So it would hurt if you want a different opportunity. You're not going to get it. So I know that it looks so bad, the Lane Kiffin stuff, but I just don't like telling them you can't do this, can't do that.
Well, he's not the only one that looks bad. I mean, all of these teams that are losing these guys kind of look bad, right? So let me see if I can find something that's in the middle for you. What about if we do other staff members like coordinators and assistants? You can talk to coordinators, you can talk to assistants, but you just can't talk to the head coaches until after the college football playoff's done.
You there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Second. No, I mean, how is that fair? You can talk to their coordinators, but you can't the head coach? I don't think so. You can't say, okay, because you're the head coach. No. If you can talk to coordinators, you should be able to talk to the head coach.
Okay. All right. I can see that too. That's why I'm not going to argue with you on that one. But
it's a bad system, but what I really don't want is just all these rules and regulations in place to try to fix it and thereby actually hurting programs.
Okay.
That need new head coaches.
All right. So last one on this college football calendar here. You've kind of already answered this one and a little bit of the other answers you put in there. But if you are the head of college football, do you make radical multiple changes to try to fix everything in this calendar deal, or do you just make a few subtle changes and kind of go a little at a time?
I just don't know what subtle changes they would make. Definitely not radical changes. I don't know. The thing is, you have there are players that go to programs for the coach. They go to Georgia for Kirby Smart, right? Or they go to Clemson for Deebo Samuel or whatever, right? And then they can just up and leave. But now that you can do the transfer portal, so that kind of took that argument away. Well, if the head coach leaves, the player gets screwed. But now you can transfer. So I don't think I'd make any changes. I know it sucks. If there's a subtle change that would make sense that wouldn't hurt teams' ability to get a coach in place and recruit, then yes. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. Is there any subtle changes you would make?
Well, let me go with this subtle change. Let me throw this comment out there. All you got to do is use our name in your comments twice, and we'll make sure we put you up here, right? So Caden the Diesel Freak here says Ohio's defense played, I like it, lights out, and they're going to knock Indiana's lights out. So I'm all over that one, buddy. I appreciate that. And then he's got one more that we got all kinds of comments coming in here. Hang on. Let's see. Let me make sure. Yeah. We'll just keep feeding Caden here. Caden all of a sudden is a big fan of the show. So that's all right, man. We love first timers. We love that you guys all come along, and then you guys can comment with us as well. We'll put up another one here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's fantastic, man. I'm glad you played high school football. I've said it before. I didn't. I was kind of the guy on the sidelines, watching and dissecting and stuff like that. So that's probably why I'm doing a podcast and I'm not playing right now. So, but I appreciate all of you who do and know how this stuff works and gathers and everything else. So to go back to your question here, Cheese, I just don't like this. I don't like how the college football landscape is right now, where I think the first thing I would change is only one portal window opening. I mean, I know we're not talking about the portal window right at the moment, but there would be one portal window and that's it. We would have the coaching and stuff right before the portal window. And I just think other sports do their calendars better, especially the NFL. The NFL does their calendar really well. And they spread stuff out over the year so that we're always talking about them. And then there's free agency and there's the draft and there's, the Pro Bowls and the Super Bowl. And there's all this other stuff that free agency comes into play and everything else that they stretch everything out. College football seems to be at this point right now where they're just like everything's firing on all cylinders. Everybody's shooting off a gun right now. And we're all trying to move out of the way so the bullets don't hit us as they're flying by.
I just thought of something else.
Sure.
So what if, like, for example, just use an NFL example. In 2022, the Minnesota Vikings waited till the Rams won the Super Bowl before hiring Kevin O'Connell, who was the Rams offensive coordinator. Last year, or this past year, the Saints waited until Kellen Moore won the Super Bowl. They waited and hoped that they would take the job, right? But that's a risk. What if they have a rule you have to wait till the college playoffs over to talk to these coaches? What if you wait till they're eliminated, like in the final 4, final 2, and then they decide, you know what, we built something here. I decided to stay, and you waited all that time when you could have hired someone that wasn't in the playoff. They just changed their mind. So that's another factor you got to think. Okay, we can't talk to this coach, but what if, like BYU's coach, for example, what if BYU gets in and they upset a few people and they're in the final 4, and you wait and Penn State offers a job? He's like, yeah, we almost won it with BYU. I want to roll it back. So then, you know what I mean? So that's another factor I just thought of. Yeah, that's just another factor.
Okay. That's interesting. It's kind of a spot that I really didn't think about as far as that part goes. So yeah, I mean, there's good and bad to all of this. I'm just not sure if it's the best it can be. Maybe we need to make some more kind of subtle changes in order to get this thing going and get it on the right path. Just my opinion. Let's jump into the LSU Lane Kiffin Ole Miss mess, right? So here we go. I got a bunch of stuff for you, and you may even have more than what I do, but these are the questions that we're going to throw out there, and then I'll let you kind of feed at the end before we do our lights out list here. So if you're headed to the college football playoff with a program that you built at Ole Miss, why are you going to LSU to hopefully do the same?
He's going to LSU because I'm sure they offer more money. It's traditionally better program. There's a lot of good high school football players in Louisiana that will go to LSU no matter what. They will not transfer. There's just fewer in Mississippi. It's just a fact. It's just an easier place to recruit. At least Lane thinks so. We'll see. Mississippi's been a much better program the last couple of years than LSU, whether that's Lane or whatever. It's, LSU, you can argue it's definitely a top 10 program. It might be top 5 overall. Maybe not the last couple of years, but it's up there. Okay. And I think it's definitely a top 10 program. So that's what he's thinking. I just really want him to say, you know what, we're going to keep going with Mississippi. But you know what? He's a POS. He has no loyalty whatsoever. He took the Tennessee job, and then the USC job opened up. He thought it was better and took off for USC, but ended in disaster. Had to go to Florida Atlantic. He's got what I call, Denzel Washington had the quote. Actor Denzel Washington called destination addiction. Have you heard about this?
Yes. Kenny Dillingham used it earlier in the day.
He did, and that's where I saw it. The idea that happiness is the next place, the next job, or even the next partner. Until you give up the idea that happiness is somewhere else, it will never be where you are. And that's the way Lane Kiffin is. He was always looking for a better job, no loyalty. Someone even said, what if Kalen DeBoer is fired like in 2 years at Alabama? Would we go to Alabama? He might. What if Ohio State offers a job? What if Ryan Day retires? Maybe he'll go to Ohio State. He has no loyalty whatsoever at all. That's just who Lane Kiffin is.
Okay, but you can also say if he goes to LSU, there's more pressure on him to win in LSU, right? There's more expectations for him to do well.
Yes, absolutely. At Ole Miss, you win 9-10 games every year, you're going to keep your job no matter what. He got them to the playoff. LSU, here's what you have to do. You have to beat Ole Miss. You have to beat Alabama. You have to beat Florida. And you have to be in the college football playoff every year. And you have to be in the SEC title game at least every other year. I'm not joking. I know LSU fans.
I know.
Period. You cannot lose any of those games. and that's the way they are. And the expectations are that. And you can win a national championship. Oh, what's his name? And then 2 years later, you're out. Who's the coach when they had Joe Burrow? Oh, God. He used to coach Ole Miss, actually.
Oh, the older gentleman. Voice.
Oh, I love that guy. I just cannot think of his name.
Yeah, someone help us out. It's like a compound name. It's a longer last name.
I'm looking it up. But he wins the national title. Ed Ogeron.
There you go.
Yep. And then a couple of years later, fire in the middle of the season. And then they eventually hired Brian Kelly. Yeah, but you bring up a good point. Look what Brian Kelly did. He left Notre Dame mainly because Notre Dame, he could not recruit all the players he wanted. Notre Dame has academic restrictions, right? Mm-hmm. And he thought, well, I won't have those at LSU, and I'll start winning national championships. He thought he went as far as he could go with Notre Dame. Turns out Marcus Freeman went further, made the finals, but whatever.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out for Brian Kelly. Not at all. And you know what? He's such a jerk. I'm so happy that he failed.
He's going to land somewhere, though. Maybe not this year, but he's going to land somewhere.
He will.
So before we talk about loyalty, which we'll do in the next question, why didn't Lane think he had the right to coach a program that he is leaving, even though Sumrall is being allowed to in Tulane? Is there a difference between the two programs, or why are we okay with one guy doing it, but we're just going to crucify Lane Kiffin because he wants to try to do it?
Two main reasons. One, Ole Miss and LSU are rivals. And the longer that Lane Kiffin is there, the more he can try to recruit all his players to come to LSU. That's know
pretty much already done, though, isn't it? I mean, come on.
Not necessarily. There's some that are probably loyal to Ole Miss. No, I'm staying. And then what if they advance far in the college football playoff? Like, so he would have more chances to keep his coaches. And one thing that really irritated me, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but his statement, Lane Kiffin's statement, played victim because of this. He actually said he wanted to coach him in the playoff, and guardrails are in place to protect the program in any areas of concern. What guardrails? You can say, "Oh, I won't do it. I won't try to get the transfers." That's BS. He has no loyalty whatsoever. All he cares right now is about LSU and winning. He doesn't care about Ole Miss now that he's left. My request to do so was denied by Keith Carr, despite the team also asking him to allow me to keep coaching them so they could better maintain the high-level performance. So basically, he's playing victim. He leaves them now saying they won't let me coach. I'm the victim. Oh, my God. So the other it just bothers me. The other reason is it's just a bit LSU is more likely to get transfers. Ole Miss players transfer to LSU can play right away. So you can't allow that. So that's the main reason. You can't let him continue to coach. There's no way. And it's a good move by LSU, by Ole Miss.
All right. And I hear what you're saying. I agree with it to a certain extent. But I also want to ask you this. How can anyone cry about Lane's loyalty when college football players are entering this thing called the transfer portal and basically doing the exact same concept? So whether you're playing or coaching, they're just trying to get paid more. That's what everybody's trying to do. Why are we beating Lane up for it when every college player is doing it too?
No, you're right. And that transfer portal is awful. It is terrible. You should have some penalty. I get it. It used to be you had to sit out a year, 2 years in conference, right? But maybe you sit out 25% of the season. I probably am doing a whole video about this. If you transfer in conference or to a team on the schedule, maybe it's half the year. But some kind of penalty, because Jeff Hafley is the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to paraphrase what he said. He was the head coach of Boston College. He was a defensive coordinator at Ohio State before that. He left a head coaching job in college. And like I said, I'm paraphrasing. But basically what he said was, I had to recruit these players to Boston College. Then the next 2 years, I had to recruit them to stay at Boston College and not take more money elsewhere, bigger programs, if they were really good. And then I had to recruit them to stay after junior year and not go to the NFL. So every year, you're not only recruiting new players, you're recruiting your players to stay. And if he gets a 3-star recruit that was not offered by any of the big programs, Ohio State, Michigan, any of those, and they break out and they become one of the best players in the ACC, well, here comes Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia calling him, hey, we'll give you more money. And boom, he's gone. And that's why he left a head coaching job in college to coach a defensive coordinator job in the NFL. So there needs to be either some kind of, like, you can't offer, like, some kind of cap on how much more you can offer, or just you have to sit out some of the season because it's just getting out of hand. Texas Tech basically bought half a team. Half their team was bought transfers, and it worked. So more teams are going to do this. I can't hear. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's because I muted my mic. I'm sorry, I didn't unmute it. I poured some more drink over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm so thirsty today, but so I want you to I want you to picture yourself in your living room, right?
Okay.
And Lane Kiffin's in there, and he's trying to recruit your son to come to now LSU.
Okay.
So my question will be: will Lane lose recruits to a coach who has been loyal to their program because Lane has not been loyal to any program?
Possibly, probably a few, maybe, just because you can say, okay, Lane Kiffin might be gone in a couple of years, gets a better job. He might be gone. You could say, I've been here for 7 years, I'm staying here. So you could use that to try to recruit against him. Probably not, though. Maybe a few, but I don't think it'll be a huge problem, but it could.
Luke, I do see your comment over there. I'll get to it here in just a moment. Give me just a few minutes till we get to the actual college football playoff, and then I'll put your comment up there. I'm not ignoring you whatsoever. We'll get to you, buddy. All right. So I don't know. I would certainly, if I'm the other head coach, I'm certainly going to try to use that as part of my pitch to get your son to come play for me. You know, if I'm Kenny Dillingham, and I've been there for a while, and I've had opportunities to go other places, and I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm staying right here. I want to build something here, which is, you know, I don't know if you said it off air or if you said it during the podcast here, but you were like, hey, I wish Lane would have just said, hey, we're building something really good here, and I'm going to stay here and see it through. I mean, that's who I want my kid to go to. That's the coach that I want my kid to go to.
Yeah, and we knew. We talked about on Saturday. We knew he was gone. If he was going to stay at Ole Miss, he would have announced it right before the Egg Bowl, pumped his team up, signed a thing. It would have been such a big, awesome moment. And so we knew he was gone. We absolutely knew. And it's just such a shame. And it's probably going to happen once you have success at a program that doesn't necessarily have some success. Everyone's going to watch him. And you got someone, Lane Kiffin has no loyalty. He's gone.
Yes, but he's had some failures too. I mean, it's not like he's that's one of the things that I liked about the other SEC coaches that we've talked about, with the exception of the guy who had the DUI, right? They've all kind of climbed up through the ranks, and they've gotten better, and they've improved. And, you know, those are the logical guys that you go out and get. I'm not sure if Lane Kiffin is a logical guy that you go out and get just because he had success there. As you said, he had to go to Florida Atlantic because he failed, you know, in a couple of other spots. And so he had to then build himself back up again. I don't like
half
that.
He has half the double-digit wins in Ole Miss history in 125 years. He's half of them, just himself. He's been there since 2018, I think. Maybe, something like that. So that's pretty significant. Like Ole Miss, yes, they had some good years with Eli Manning, but overall, a lot of years they're a 6, 7, 8 win team at most. You know, a lot of years they're like that. So what he's done the last 2 years, pretty impressive. I think he went 10-3 last year. Obviously, this year they're 11-1. Mm-hmm. So it's like I said, Mississippi doesn't have necessarily the recruiting, and you're recruiting against Mississippi State. It's not the strongest state for like football players. Places like Texas, Louisiana, California, Florida have much better high school football talent. So it's pretty significant what he's done. I know he failed at USC, but he's done a really good job with Ole Miss, obviously.
So let me ask you this. I think this would be a little bit of a stretch, but maybe we can come up with something between the two of us. Should coaches be made to do some sort of like red shirt thing when they switch programs, and will that keep people more loyal?
What do you mean by red shirt? Like, what can you tell a coach they have to do?
You know, you can't coach for the first 4 or 5 games, or
that will never fly.
Right? I know it's not going to fly, but I was just trying to think of something that we could do, or some kind of I don't want to say a conspiracy, but some kind of rule that we could put out there that we could put into place to kind of keep coaches loyal and keep coaches where they are. Is there anything that we could do to do something like that?
Maybe in conference, you could say if they join another school in conference, you have to pay that old team the entire salary or something like that. I don't know. Make it about money. That might, some of the boosters might like, I want that coach, but let's not go crazy. I really think that's why Norville at Florida State's still there. I think a lot of people have gone is because they gave him such a big contract after that undefeated year that they don't want to pay that buyout. That's the only reason I think he's still there. He's had 2 disastrous seasons in a row. So maybe make it financial. I don't know, but I really don't like it when a coach is the head coach in conference and goes to coach another program in conference. I just cannot stand that, especially a rivalry like Ole Miss and LSU have.
Yeah, maybe you could make them give half of the NIL money from the school he's going to the school he came from and make it. No, that'd be weird.
That's pretty hard. That would prevent it from happening at all.
Yeah.
But
you're making me brainstorm now. I'm like, I'm using this brain in my head for a little bit.
That's
I know it's dangerous.
That's dangerous.
These headphones are getting tight.
Uh-oh.
All right, so I've got 2 more questions here about LSU, and then we're going to move on to our lights out list here. So the first thing I want to ask you is, this is going to be a poll question. We're going to do it as soon as this show is over, along with posting up your new video. God, don't call it a podcast. We're going to show your new video up. We're going to put it on at All Gloves Off SM on X as well. So we'll do both of them. This poll question and your video. Here's the poll question: how many Ole Miss recruits do you think Lane Kiffin will take to LSU with him? And it's going to be 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, or 10 plus. What would your answer be right now?
Oh, so only players from, not transfers, but only players from Ole Miss.
Yes, only
to LSU.
Yeah, that would go from Ole Miss to LSU with him. So 1 to 3.
Such a good question.
Well, you kind of gave it to me yesterday. I know you did. I'm not looking at it.
I was exaggerating yesterday. When I said that yesterday, I was exaggerating. I think it could be either C or D. I think it's probably somewhere in the 7 to 12 range. I think he'll take that many.
All right. And I can't wait to see tomorrow when we look at how our fans are going to vote. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. What are the times that the Lights Out Sports Podcast will be on, sir? Because I always mess it up. Go ahead.
Every Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, once, the time change happens. So it's 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific. And if you're in Arizona, it's 6 o'clock.
Okay. There you go. So I have a follow-up to this question, and it's this. Should the NCAA place a cap on the number of transfers that go from a coach's old spot to his new spot?
Yes, absolutely. They should have put a cap on transfers to any program, in my opinion. You can only have so many transfers. You can have 25 scholarships a year for new players?
Correct.
Well, you need to put a cap on these transfers. Like, you can have maybe 5. That would prevent all this NIL, all these things just buying a team. Texas Tech literally, I think it was either 7 or 8 new starters on defense, all transfers. Like 7 new transfer starters. That's crazy. Depends. Yeah.
I think she's saying that you need diapers.
You are much older than me, so maybe it's you. That
Maybe
brain
it
of
is.
yours causing. No, but
Yeah.
Depends is no. It's true. It depends, but definitely no more than 10. I would like only 5, but definitely no more than 10 transfers. And going from that team, oh yeah, it should be 5 or fewer. I think so. That I would like to see regulations on.
Okay, so we're gonna get off of this Lane Kiffin stuff. I think it frustrates the both of us. So I was very happy that nobody's veins popped out of their forehead or anything like that. Do you have anything that you want to add to this before we jump into our lights out list?
No, but I'll just say I saw the question about Texas. We are going to go over Texas a lot tomorrow.
Yes.
We're going to talk about it right now. We're going to see if maybe Mike has them in his top 12. Maybe I do not. But maybe, but we're going to talk a lot about Texas on the podcast tomorrow, and Sarkisian's comment. And despite being 3 losses, do we think they should get in? So we'll deal with that a little bit now and a lot tomorrow.
That's correct. That's one of the things. It's one of the reasons why I saved it. I told him that I saw the comment, but I wanted to hang on to it for a moment. So I want to give you 2 things that we're going to talk about tomorrow on the college. Well, actually, I'll give you three. We're going to concentrate on these three things tomorrow. We are going to concentrate on Texas and Steve Sarkisian and what he said, and is he right? And we'll get into all of that tomorrow, right? We're also going to talk about all of these championship games, who we think is going to win, and how will that affect the college football playoff. And then the next thing we're going to do our 12 people right now. But tomorrow, I think this may be just as interesting as our 12 that we're doing right now. We're each going to give you our first four out. The first four teams that are currently out of our 12 team, and see if by the time the real 12 get in, one of those four might actually make it in. So we're going to do those things tomorrow on the Lights Out Sports podcast. You already heard the times. I just mess them up. So then
8 Eastern,
you have to correct me.
8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Yeah.
All right. So let me put this up here. Luke did ask this. Luke post 5626. Do you think Texas should make the college football playoff? We'll let you know right now, because that's what we're going to do next. We're going to give you guys our college football 12-team playoffs. Cheese. I want to ask you, and this is kind of a revolutionary thing for us. We usually do 10. Today we're going to do 12. So I'm going to ask you if we can do it backwards. We usually start at 10 and go to number 1. Today I think number 1 and number 2 teams are a little easier to do. So can we build the drama and start at 1 and go to 12 today?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, whatever you say.
Whatever.
You want.
Don't do that.
And we'll finish with the teams left out, the next 4 out. So we'll basically do a top 16.
Right, but we're going to do those 4 tomorrow, not today.
Oh, we're going to do this 4 tomorrow. Okay, yes. I had them ready. Okay,
it's called a tease, or that's what it's called.
Okay.
So we're teasing that, and we're going to give you those 4 tomorrow on the Lights Out Sports podcast. Now, I want to do this too. I want to do the music in the background, but I also want to do our 5 Flamin' 5 and 5 music and be able to explain to people who have never seen the actual show, the Lights Out Sport podcast, what that is. That is a thing where we start off every show with 5 questions for Cheese. We put flames up on the screen, and if he doesn't get those 5 questions right in the 5 minutes that we give him, now that we have got over 100 people with us live right now, then he bursts into flames, and I get to do the rest of the show by myself. So it's not happened yet. We've come really close a couple times.
So close.
But it has not happened yet. So let's start the music, and then we'll start the countdown. All right, buddy. So do you want to start, or do you want me to start? Who wants to go first, bud?
Go ahead.
All right, so we're going to do this one. We're going to start at number 1 and go down. I am going to agree with our good buddy. Let me go over here and get the comments and get his name here. Caden the Diesel Freak. He was all over Ohio State today in the comments, and I'm going to agree with him. Number 1 in the top 12 college football playoff rankings, Ohio State.
I have Ohio State number 1 as well.
All right, so I've got Indiana at number 2. Do you also have Indiana at number 2?
Yes, I think no matter what, the winner should get the first, obviously, number 1 seed. The loser should be the number 2 seed no matter what.
All right, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But yes, I'm just going to save my comments on that for tomorrow. We might agree, we might not agree. Here's where I think this is going to get really interesting, because I agree with what you said off air earlier. It is not just who you've beat, but who you have lost to. So with almost all of these teams, I have their losses and who they have beat that are above 500. And that was pretty much my criteria as to how I ranked them. What was your criteria as how you ranked everybody? Did you do the so-called eye test thing that you like to say all the time, or did you do something different today?
No, just most of it's the eye test, but also the resume. I think beating good teams is important, but I think just as important is not losing to bad teams. So that was my criteria. So I obviously will find out tomorrow. I left out some teams that you probably didn't because they probably had one bad loss.
Okay. Well, this is going to be really interesting, I think, especially as we go through this and the order. We may have the same teams, but the order is probably going to be a lot different. So I had Ohio State 1. I've got Indiana as number 2. The third team that would also get a bye in my book was the best one-loss record team, and that's Georgia. Georgia lost to Alabama by 3, and then they beat Ole Miss, they beat Texas, and they have beaten Georgia Tech. So I gave them credit for those 3 wins.
Tennessee.
And Tennessee,
yeah.
you're correct.
On the road, yeah.
Yep. And I put Georgia as my number 3. Who'd you have as your number 3, sir?
Same, Georgia, same reasons.
Okay.
3. But
all right.
But maybe what happens if they lose? Find out tomorrow. If they lose in the SEC title.
That will be interesting.
Talk about chaos. Yes.
There's some chaos that can be tossed into this, and that's why we wanted to do a special today and then a whole lot more stuff tomorrow, because we knew as much stuff is going on right now in college football, the show tomorrow would have been 4 hours long if we'd have done it and included all of the stuff in the college football thing. So, and then by the way, like I said earlier, over 300 views in right at 48 hours. So you guys have also told us that you like this college football stuff too. We're over 100 right now with this live. So again, you guys are telling us what to do just as much as anything else. So that's what we're doing. So Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia for both of us. My number 4 team, I flip-flopped and flopped and flipped on 2 or 3 teams, and I finally decided on Texas A&M as my number 4 team. Texas A&M, they lost to Texas, but they beat Notre Dame, they beat LSU, and they beat Missouri. So a really good resume as far as who they beat. It's not like they lost to a terrible team. Texas is not bad. And, as Luke Post 5626 pointed out, Texas might make one of our lists before it's all said and done here. So we'll see. But for me, Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, and Texas A&M is who gets that 4th bye. How about your 4th team, sir?
So I am assuming this team wins the conference. So I went with Texas Tech, because if they beat BYU, they will have won the Big 12, and the top 4 seeds get a bye. So the committee I know it's different this year. Mm-hmm. It's not 4 conference winners, but to me that will be better than, because Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, teams like that aren't even playing for it. So if Texas Tech beats BYU, beats them handily, which they already did this year, then I think they jump up to the 4 seed.
All right, so you have Texas Tech as your number 4 seed.
Yes.
I have Texas Tech as my 5th seed. I had Texas Tech as the 4th seed for a little bit, and I used really the same logic that you did, but then I said, we're saying currently, right now. We don't know if they're going to win that or not, so that's why I dropped them down to number 5. But just to give you their resume here, they lost to a healthy Arizona State University, and when I mean healthy, the Sun Devils at that point had their quarterback Sam Levitt, thank you. And then they also had the receiver Tyson, right?
Yeah.
So they lost to a healthy ASU at that point. So I think that's not a terrible loss. And then they beat Utah and BYU as well. So
easily beat both.
Easily beat both those teams.
Yes.
All right. So who was your number 5 team, sir?
Oregon was my number 5. They look good against Washington. 1 loss, only lost to Indiana. That's their only loss. It's the number 2 team in the country. So, number 5, Oregon.
All right. I'm not as high on Oregon as you are, so they'll be on the list, but they're just a ways down here yet.
Okay.
So number 6, I think this might be the first surprise for a lot of people, at least on my list. They lost to Texas Tech, but they beat a 9-3 Arizona, which I think looks better after they beat ASU over the weekend. They also beat a 10-2 Utah team. They beat an 8-4 Iowa State team. And by the way, they beat those 3 teams in consecutive weeks. And then they also beat an 8-4 TCU team. And my number 6 team is BYU.
Yeah, more on them in a second. My number 6 is Ole Miss. They're 11-1 in the SEC. number 6 seed. I think that speaks for itself. The only loss was Georgia. So, yeah, number 6 Ole Miss.
All right, so I went through and I kind of put all this stuff out, right? So the undefeated teams at the top were easy. Ohio State and Indiana. It was pretty easy to put Ohio State 1, Indiana 2. And now we're looking at these one-loss teams, the Georgias, the Texas A&M, the Texas Tech, the BYU, and you've got 2 more, Ole Miss and Oregon. So it was very difficult for me to decide which one got 7 and which one got 8. For 7, I went with Oregon. Their only loss was to Indiana, and that was honestly the reason why I bumped them up there. They beat Iowa, they beat Minnesota, they beat USC, and they handily this weekend beat Washington, which I thought Washington had a chance to really give them a good game, and they did not. Oregon handled them really well. So I moved Oregon up to number 7.
Okay. My number 7, you've already mentioned him, is Texas A&M. Did not look good at all against Texas. Even when they beat South Carolina, they were way behind. That is not impressive. I know they won the game, but because of that, to me, of these SEC Big Ten teams that have one loss, to me, they're the least impressive. So I dropped them down to 7.
All right. I said it to you earlier. Do you punish Ole Miss for losing Lane Kiffin? I don't know if we talked about that or not. I had it on my notes. I don't think we mentioned it.
You can't. I mean, Florida State got punished a couple years ago because their quarterback got hurt. But you should not punish at all. Go ahead.
I think you do. That's why I put them at the last one-win team. They don't have their same coach now. They're not going to be the same team. The plays aren't going to be called the same way. I don't think the players might not play for this new coach the same way. I think this will be very interesting to see how Ole Miss will play now that all this is done. They lost to Georgia. They did beat Tulane. I don't know if that's a great win or not.
No, they blew. Well, no, it is because they blew them out. And Tulane's ranked. They blew them out. So
Tulane is only ranked. Come on, stop it.
They're ranked.
They're ranked. They're ranked because they're a non-Power 5 conference, and they've got to rank some of those non-Power 5 conferences.
If they won by 2 points, fine. But they won by 35 points. That's good.
They should beat teams like Tulane by 35 points. Let me know if I'm wrong. There's tons of comments over here. This is the one thing that Cheese and I are really going to disagree on this list here, I'm pretty sure. So I don't like this win at Tulane, even though I gave him credit for it. The win that I would give him credit for is Oklahoma. And then they also beat, kind of ironically, LSU too. Yes, I thought Ole Miss was the worst of the one-loss teams. So I put them at number 8.
So what you just mentioned, we could say this thing about BYU. So basically what you're saying is we'll punish the players for going 11-1 because their coach left. No, you should not lose a seed because the coach left. And BYU, it would be really bad if an 11-1 team did not make it. If they lose to Texas Tech, which a lot of people think that they are, that would be not good. If a Power 4 team when 11-1 didn't make it, but I think it's a possibility. I really do. But their only loss was to Texas Tech. So they do not have a bad loss. Like I said, you need to factor in, if you have a bad loss, and they do not have a bad loss at all. So I have them at number 8, BYU, but I got a bad feeling they might not make it, but I hope they do. 11-1 regular season of Big 12, you should get in.
Okay. So at this point, at least to me, and this is how I divided it up, I'm looking at these 2-loss teams. And I'm like, okay, who is the best 2-loss team out there? And this wasn't even a consideration for me. I know exactly who the best 2-loss team is. I really want to see them play in the college football playoff, and I hope they make it far just because of how they scheduled not really how they scheduled their regular season, but I guess how it all kind of fell into place. And that's Oklahoma. So they lost to Texas and they lost to Ole Miss. Neither of those losses are terrible. The Texas one's not as good as the Ole Miss one is, but they beat Illinois State. You do have to give them, I know it's Illinois State, and if we're going to give Tulane credit, we got to give them credit for beating an
Tulane's a lot better than Illinois State. A lot better. Tulane is literally playing for the playoff.
Shotgun. Daggone it.
Don't forget they beat Kent State as well.
Well, Penn State's not above 500. They are at 500. So I only gave.
They beat Kent State. I'm talking about Oklahoma.
Kent State. I only gave them credit for teams that are above 500. So they beat Michigan, they beat Tennessee, they beat Alabama, they beat Missouri, they beat LSU, and in my destination, Kent State as well. And in my destination, that means that they are the best 2-loss team. So that's why Oklahoma gets put at 9.
They beat Tennessee and Alabama on the road in back-to-back weeks.
Yes.
Once they did that, once that happened, it's like just beat Missouri and LSU at home, which they did. And they held them to 6 and 13 points. Their defense is incredible. So that's just such an impressive win. Yeah, Texas lost 23-6. Doesn't look good, but they finished strong. So, yeah, I have Oklahoma as well as my number 9 team. I
was very tempted to put Oklahoma up higher. When I originally did this, I had them in like 5 or 6, and then I kept going, no, they've only got, this other team's only got 1 loss, and they don't have terrible losses. And I really looked at the Oklahoma loss to Texas, even though Luke Post 5626 might not agree with me. That's not a terrible loss, but it's not a great loss either.
The quarterback might have been out. Mateer might have been out of the game. I can't remember, but he did miss at least a couple games. But
you could be right, though. You could be right. Okay.
But I'll say this about Oklahoma. They better play better offensively than they did against Missouri or LSU in the playoff. Their defense is incredible, but you got to score more than 17 points in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. But they got to find some more offense.
Yes, they do. All right, this team that I put at number 10, I struggled with this one too. They're only, they lost to Oklahoma. I'm looking at their schedule. I thought they had their 2 loss. Yes, and they lost. Here's the reason why I did it, because they lost to Florida State, a 5-7 Florida State team. Now, they did have good wins. They beat Georgia. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat Missouri. They beat Tennessee. And by the way, they beat Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, week 1, week 2, not 4 weeks in a row, okay? Then they beat LSU, who is a 7-5 team when it's all said and done as well. So, yeah, and they're playing for the title. We're going to talk about Alabama more tomorrow, because if they don't win the SEC, I think they're in danger of not making the college football playoff. So we'll talk about that more tomorrow, but I put Alabama right now at number 10. Yeah,
I think they may have lucked out getting in that game, because that might be their only shot. Although it's Alabama, so the college football community be like, well, it's Alabama. They'll get more ratings, big money, so let's just put them in there. So,
I think they knew that too. I'm sure you watched that game between Alabama and Auburn. And they had a chance to lose that game at the end, and they decided to go for it on the 4th down. Now, they made the 4th down, and they kept them marching on, and they scored, and that's how they won the game. But I think their coaching staff also knew, hey, we've got to go for it here. We have got to win this game.
They had to, yeah. They would have been. They would have been.
Went for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 11 for me, they lost.
Well, I could do my number 10 if you'd like.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you had Alabama at number 10 too.
Oh, no, Alabama's not in my top 12. You can't lose to Florida State and get dominating that game. I don't care if it's week 1. I didn't have Alabama in my
but you
top
can
12.
beat Tulane and you could. Never mind.
11-1. They didn't lose to Florida State. My number 10, and I'm not a fan of this team, but they have 2 good losses of their 2 losses. So I'm going to say Notre Dame is my number 10. Not the strongest schedule, but lost to Texas A&M, lost to Miami, 2 top 15 teams. So, yeah, Notre Dame is my number 10 team.
All right, Notre Dame is my number 11 team for a lot of the same reasons that you just said. And I'm going to punish them a little bit. I had them a little higher. I'm going to punish them a little bit for not being in a conference and not even having the opportunity to play the conference game. And I'm also going to tell you this. As I'm looking through at my first 4 that get knocked out, if Duke wins or, Vandy wins or something like that happens in these conference games, Notre Dame's going to be the first team I knock out because of all of those things. So
we've talked about this. I think Notre Dame should be forced to join a conference, or they can't be higher than 9 seed no matter what, which means you have to go on the road. personally, that's what I think. It is kind of unfair. They can pick their schedule so much easier. They play, I think, 4 ACC games, and they'll play, USC and a few other teams every year. But it is a little unfair. They can pretty much pick their schedule. So I don't like that. But like I said, they have 2 pretty good losses. And I know Miami beat them and they have the same record, but Miami also lost to Louisville at home. And that's a bad loss.
Yes, it is. Miami is.
So you left off a team that's going to make it, because the last 2 spots I have are an ACC team because they automatic bid, and then the non-Power 4 team. So my number 11, I have Virginia. Duke has a shot. I don't see it happening. Virginia played them a month ago and absolutely dominated the game. Won, I think, by 17, but it really wasn't that close. Just Duke could not stop them. And Duke just doesn't have very good defense. So I think Virginia wins, and I think they get the 11th spot and the only ACC spot.
Okay. The reason why I did not put them in there is it's like, okay, these are the teams right now. I didn't look at it as after the conference games. Now, these rankings are going to change one more time, right?
Yeah.
So we'll probably do something similar to this after all these conference games are done. And I wanted to put this team in. We talked about them. They lost to Texas Tech and BYU. If you're going to say Notre Dame had 2 good losses, well, this team had 2 good losses too, with Texas Tech and BYU. And then they beat ASU and they beat Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati's right now. And Utah.
They beat Cincinnati on the road a couple. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
looked
I
impressive in that game.
They do have a good resume. I struggled with them and a few of these other teams that we're going to talk about tomorrow. We were my first 4 out, but I decided to put Utah at number 12. I don't think they're going to make the 12, but man, I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping. And
they need a lot to happen.
They
would need a lot to happen. I don't see it. I'm going to mention Utah tomorrow. There's a spoiler. There's one. I'm going to mention them tomorrow, but I'll just say this. They have not looked good the last 2 weeks in their 2 wins against Kansas State and Kansas. They won on some fluky turnover. I mean, there's a lot of things that went right, or they don't win those games. Just not very impressive, and that's why I don't think they're going to get in. But if you just look at wins and losses, you're right. Their only losses were to BYU and Texas Tech. My number 12, obviously I did this a different than you, but is North Texas. I think they're going to beat Tulane, and they lead the nation in scoring. Their offense is incredible. I think they're going to win that game, and think they should be ahead of James Madison just because the American Conference is much better, in my opinion, than the Sun Belt. So I think North Texas will win, and I think they will get the 12 seed. I think they should get the 12 seed. A lot of people think it's going to be James Madison. I think that'd be a mistake.
All right. Very interesting. So let's go over I'll go over my 12. We'll let you do your 12 as we wrap this up, and then we'll go from there, buddy. So my 12 are Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Texas A&M, then Texas Tech. BYU comes in at number 6 with Oregon at 7, Ole Miss at 8, Oklahoma, then Alabama, Notre Dame, and Utah. Who did you have as your 12, sir?
So we had 10 of the same 12. I had Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, BYU, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Virginia, and North Texas.
All right, excellent. I appreciate that. As we do every week, we're talking about this. We're going to set everything up for tomorrow. Let's go ahead and do the outro music here as we do that. But
do you think North Texas can beat Oregon or Ole Miss or Texas A&M?
Ooh.
We'll more on that later.
Well, let's talk about this a minute. I think they can beat Oregon. With the offense they have, I think they can beat Ole Miss. You know who I'd like to see them play in the first round?
Who?
Oklahoma.
Probably won't happen, but yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
No, but that'd be a great game. The defense of Oklahoma and the offense of North Texas, man, I would love to see those 2 teams play each other. It would kind of be the 2, almost the oddball teams, and when they would play each other, one of them would have to go, one of them gets to stay, almost like a Cinderella type story. So that would be my dream scenario in the first round, would be to see those 2 play.
Real quick, I want to see A&M play Notre Dame again. That was maybe the best game of the year, 41-40. It was like week 2. People forget about it, but I loved it. So I'd love to see Texas A&M, Notre Dame play again, maybe 7 versus 10, just like we saw in week 2. That rematch, that'd be awesome. We'll talk more about scenarios tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking at different
Eastern.
stuff here.
Pacific. Oh, you okay?
Yeah. There's a lot of these. All these teams are good. There's not a bad team in this bunch. And I think you said it off air. I'm going to agree with you right now as we kind of close everything out. It's 12 teams this year. It's going to be 16 teams probably next year is what I'm going to say. And then
I think they'll go to 24. Oh, I think they're going to go. I don't think they're going to skip 16 because they're going to give people a bye. They want to give you incentive for finishing good. That's why there's a bye now. So I think they're going to go to 24 in the next few years. I do.
All right. This will be very interesting. And tomorrow on the Lights Out Sports podcast, we're going to do our first 4 teams out that we did not include in these 12. We're going to talk about Steve Sarkisian and Texas and everything that's going on there, just like we talked about Lane Kiffin in this episode. And then we're also going to do some NFL. We're going to do some MLB. I mean, we're just going to do a whole lot of stuff tomorrow. So tune in.
To answer Luke's question, we both didn't have Texas in, and we will go over it tomorrow why we don't have it. I thought Mike would. He knew I wasn't going to do that, but we have a lot of thoughts on Texas and
we do.
Why we think we don't have them. We'll talk about it.
All right, sounds great. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Anything you want to add to the end of our college football special with coaches and college football playoff teams?
No, that just New England Patriots, they're already up 2 scores like that. So, Giants, Patriots, not the best game this late in the year.
No, but we can do the game on Thursday, though. It should be a really good game, Dallas and Detroit. We are going to do a watch-along for that. I've invited the guests. I know Cheese has invited the guests to come on with us to do the second and the third quarters with the guests. So we'll see if they say yes to us, and we'll go from there. So just watch our X pages, especially ours at All Gloves Off SM. We'll tell you exactly what's going to happen on Thursday before it gets here. And then we, of course,
Football Cheese. At Football Cheese is mine.
At Football Cheese. Yeah, you got to make sure you throw that in there, right?
Yeah, throw that in there. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Of course. So we're also going to do the how many Ole Miss recruits will Lane take to LSU with him? We're going to put that poll question up and have it ready to go. And I'm going to put Cheese's new video up on our X page as well. So all of that stuff coming soon. Be on the lookout for it. We are, by the way, Cheese. We are number 1, by the way. As we close everything out here. Yeah.
We're not just number 1 on X or whatever. We're number 1. We're number 1 just in our hearts.
In our hearts. Oh,
yes.
Oh.
Okay, that was kind of weird.
We are number 1. To end things is on a weird note. Why not, right?
We are number 1. Yep. Tomorrow we'll talk college football, baseball, and of course we'll do NFL. We'll go over how horribly I did in my predictions for the NFL. We'll talk about that and what I think we should do the predictions for all the conference championship games. We'll do that as well.
All right. Sounds great. Join us then. We appreciate each and every one of you. And as we say each and every time we go off the air with you, the only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base lines. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all very much.